I'm going to be talking about elevated horror. Elevated horror is a term used to describe horror movies that are also considered to be high-quality films. These movies often have complex characters, well-developed plots, and beautiful cinematography. What is elevated horror? Elevated horror is a new term, and there is no one definitive definition. However, it is generally understood to refer to horror movies that go beyond the traditional tropes of the genre. These movies often have more complex themes and characters, and they may be more visually or narratively challenging than traditional horror movies. Some examples of elevated horror. Some examples of elevated horror movies include Get Out 2017, Midsommar, The Witch, The Babadook, Hereditary. What makes elevated horror different? There are a few things that set elevated horror movies apart from traditional horror movies. First, elevated horror movies often have more complex characters. The characters in these movies are not just victims or villains. They are fully developed people with their own motivations and desires. This makes the movies more relatable and engaging for the audience. Second, elevated horror movies often have more complex themes. These movies may explore themes of race, class, gender, or family dynamics. They may also deal with more philosophical questions about the nature of evil or the meaning of life. This makes the movies more thought-provoking and challenging for the audience. Third, elevated horror movies often have more beautiful cinematography. The directors of these movies use lighting, framing, and color to create a visually stunning experience for the audience. This makes the movies more immersive and suspenseful. Why is elevated horror popular? Elevated horror is becoming increasingly popular because it offers something that traditional horror movies often lack: depth and complexity. Audiences are hungry for movies that make them think, and elevated horror delivers. Elevated horror is a growing trend in the horror genre, and it is one that is worth paying attention to. These movies are not just for people who love to be scared. They are also for people who love great cinema.